Let's take a short break and play a game. I play against each one of you. You and I need to divide $100 between us. If we reach an agreement, we get to keep the money, according to the division we agreed on. If not, the money is not given to us. The only problem is that we have only one shot. Now, because I am the professor, I will be the one to make the offer. This game was based on a real experiment known as the Ultimatum Game. The people conducting the experiment walked in the street and stopped two people who did not know each other, paired them together, and offered them to participate in the following experiment. They did so many times, say 1,000. The two players who did not know each other were asked to decide how to divide between themselves $100 given to them by the researchers. The first player proposes how to divide the sum, and the second player can either accept or reject the proposal. If the second player rejects it, neither player receives anything. If the second player accepts the offer, the money is split according to the proposal. The game is played only once, so reciprocity is not an issue. So, what do you think happened? Before you answer, please note that the second player chooses between receiving some money if he accepts the offer and zero if he rejects it. Standard economic theory suggests a clear strategy. The first player keeps $99 for himself, giving only $1 to the other player who accepts it, because $1 is better than zero. In fact, offers typically average about $30 to $40, and the second player tends to reject the allocation if he is offered less than $20. Offers of less than 30% of the sum, $30, were refused more than half the time, even though the responder then gets nothing at all. The prominent explanation for such a result is that people are willing to incur significant costs to punish people who they think treated them unfairly. People may feel they prefer to get nothing if accepting the income offered to them would result in their relative position getting worse. This experiment became very famous, and a lot was written about it. The major criticism was that $100 was not a significant enough amount of money, so that we cannot learn much from this experiment that would be useful for designing government policy, because the sums involved in real-life policies are much greater. The researcher could not find the budget to give everyone participating large sums of money. Even giving each pair $100 totaled in maybe $100,000, as you need to do it many times to make it statistically meaningful. Giving much more than $100 would be too expensive for any researcher to finance. So how do you think they solved the problem? Those of you who are familiar with the experiment, please keep quiet and don't spoil it for the others. Well, joking, of course. Well, they did the experiment in India, where $100 years ago was a huge amount for most people participating in the experiment. And later it was done throughout the world, including in lots of poor countries. The results barely changed. In games played in poor countries, offers were rejected even when the dollar payoffs were a substantial fraction of the subject's annual income. You might ask yourself whether experiments with individuals indicate anything about government behavior in similar situations. The truth is that we do not know, because we cannot run such experiments with real governments. But these experiments form our best prediction tool. What is important in this experiment to us in this course is that we see that the intuitive appeal of the notion of equality does not require treating it as a separate requirement that comes in addition to what the individuals believe is well-being. In fact, we find equality to be important because we have an individual preference for equality. We're even willing to sacrifice some consumption in order to punish people who create inequality. Look at your choices during the game. Most of you refused to at least one of my offers, although each of the three offers would have increased your income. So, why do some scholars argue that equality and a few other values or principles are important per se, regardless of their effect on individuals' well-being? I think it has to do with practical, not moral, reasons. These principles may be useful as shortcuts or proxies. It is difficult to guide behavior that promotes well-being. It may be too abstract. It is easier to follow various rules, in most cases promote well-being, such as equal division of income, insisting on due process, etc. By following these rules, instead of focusing only on what the individuals want, we sacrifice some happiness. But the overall outcome is better due to practical reasons. Fulfilling only and all individualistic desires is too difficult for practical reasons. So we follow some rules, achieving what is known as the second best. This ends our abstract discussion of what should be the policymaker's ultimate goal. In the next unit, we're going to start answering the second question we have posed before. Why do we need a state to achieve this goal?